So, there's been a powerful earthquake in Mexico. Let's bring together what we know about what's happened. One building in Mexico City has partially collapsed. There are reports that 5 people may have lost their lives in a nearby city to Mexico City. Also, other reports, people may be trapped in rubble, but we're still confirming that. Also reports there are a number of fires breaking out. The US Geological Survey, we know, has measured this quake at 7.1. It's also saying the epicenter wasn't Mexico City itself, but in fact around 50 kilometers south. A short time ago, we received this update from BBC Mundo's Juan Paulier, who's in Mexico City.
This is the scene here in Mexico City just a few minutes after an earthquake of 6.8 magnitude struck the capital. I've been without signal on my phone since then, so I don't know the extent of the damage. What I do know is that dozens of people are desperately removing rubble here because they believe someone is trapped.
Well, just after Juan recorded that, he was hit on the head by a piece of falling roof. Thankfully, he's okay, but it gives you an idea that the situation in Mexico City remains dangerous in some parts. Let's speak to the BBC's America's regional editor, Nicholas Rocha, who's working on this story here in the BBC newsroom. What are you hearing, please, from both Mexico City and nearby?
The latest reports from the Mexico City government say that at least 12 buildings have collapsed. So it's very difficult to think that there won't be any casualties. It looks pretty bad.
And in terms of the nearby towns and cities to Mexico City, do we think they've also been affected?
Apparently the city of Puebla probably was affected because the epicenter was right there. The odd thing as well that I want to point out is that today, exactly 32 years ago, there was a massive earthquake in Mexico. It's believed up to 20,000 people may have been killed. And today in Mexico, there was an earthquake drill this morning, so people were already in the streets. A couple of hours later, the real quake came and back to the streets.
And I was seeing some copy coming through from Reuters saying lots of people are now out in the streets in Mexico City because lots of buildings have had to be evacuated.
Yes, and the authorities are warning people not to return to their buildings or offices or homes until they're sure that there's no structural damage in them. Well, they're also, in fact, saying they should check for gas leaks and not to smoke in the streets because there may be gas pipes ruptured.
But checking those kind of things, structural integrity, gas and so on, that takes time. So are we looking at a situation where a lot of people are just going to be stuck outside?
Possibly,
yeah.
Possibly.
And I guess we should also mention that there was also another powerful earthquake in Mexico just a couple of weeks back.
It struck further south in near Guatemala, in Chiapas, in that part. It was deeper. And it did kill quite a few people, up to 100 or so, it's believed. But it was, I mean, Mexico City is about 20 million people live there, so it could be pretty bad.
Has the architecture improved in Mexico City since the terrible earthquake?
I think so, I believe so. They're prepared, they do drills every year now. So they know what to do, but still, a 7.1, it wasn't, if the epicenter was Puebla, which is not far away, and it wasn't that deep, the damage is awful anyway.
Mexico City's mayor is saying there are fires in various buildings, so some people are trapped inside burning buildings. I guess we should emphasize this is a city which is prepared for this kind of thing.
It is prepared, and the rescue efforts have already started. Social media has videos of people removing rubble, looking for people, but so far, there are no reports of anyone killed.
Nicholas, I'll let you get back into the newsroom. Please come back across the hour if you get any further developments. Appreciate it. So that's Nicholas keeping us up to date on this earthquake in Mexico. Just to remind you, if you're just turning on, there's been an earthquake measuring 7.1. The epicenter is south of Mexico City. 5 people are confirmed to have lost their lives, but we're being told that a number of buildings have collapsed in Mexico City, and we know searches are still going on in rubble in different parts of the city. So this story is still developing. As and when information comes through the BBC newsroom, that's where I'm broadcasting to you from, so I'll pass it on as soon as I get it.